Alrighty, everyone, it is Friday, which means it is time for News of the Week for Friday, February 7th, 2025. It is the final news of the week before the Four Nations. Again, games go all the way up until Super Bowl Sunday, and then we start the big break. A lot of teams are going to get a lot of time off during this time, and it's definitely going to be a big benefit for me as the channel and for the Four Nations as well. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a very good tournament to watch. We might see some trades develop over the next, I'd say, 48 hours. It's possible we see maybe teams try and make, one last move before everything falls into place. But at least as of right now, this is your news that I have. Hopefully another trade does not happen. But regardless, let's talk about the trades that happened after our last News of the Week video. And again, I keep forgetting, but I will put the videos in the card when I post them, or when I talk about them. So we're going to start off with the JT Miller trade that happened last Friday, where the New York Rangers acquired forward JT Miller, defenseman Eric Brandstrom, and defenseman Jackson Dorrington from the Vancouver Canucks. In exchange, the Canucks acquired forward Philip Hedl, defenseman Victor Mancini, and a conditional 2025 first, which we'll get into in a little bit where that first round pick went to. Again, there's a video in the card of me talking about the trade as a whole. I honestly think that the Rangers win this deal in the short term. They win it right now. They win it probably the next 2 years. But maybe with Vancouver, the way they are picking up, a guy in Marcus Pettersson, which we'll get into in a second here, and locking him up to a contract, again, maybe they win that side of the bargain. And again, Vancouver does get younger. They have more cap space. They have that cap room that they can use. So I think, both teams make out all right in this deal. Again, you would love more for JT Miller, but for the price that the Rangers gave up, I think you have to be very happy with it. Even if you are looking at the long term, it doesn't look that good. I mean, the Rangers' window is to win right now. They're not trying to win in 6 years. They don't care about what that contract's going to be like in the final year or two of it. And again, with the salary cap going up, I don't think it's necessarily a huge deal in my opinion, at least in my opinion. But yeah, I like the ads of Brandstrom and Dorrington too. Brandstrom, a good AHL defenseman, kind of replacing Mancini. And then Dorrington, I looked at his stats. He's been playing in Northeastern, has not signed a contract or entry-level deal, has not played in the AHL or any of those leagues just yet. He may be waiting to just study his degree and then maybe come over, but he's not looking like that much. He's probably a C-level prospect, to be honest with you. So not that big of a guy there, just kind of the guy that was just thrown in there as an extra roster player, I guess, even though he's not even really on a roster. Again, Vancouver, they get Hedl, who I've said in multiple videos that I am not terribly high on. I think that Hedl, again, he has some good upside, but he's also dealt with many injuries in the past, and I just don't know if I rely on him fully to be their number 2 guy now at this point, number 2 center, that is. And I think that this Miller trade really is to get Elias Pettersson going. There's no excuse at this point. You got to start playing the way that we know Pettersson can play now that Miller is no longer there. So, again, I think that for him, we'll have to see where that develops. But, again, Pettersson was the biggest factor in that deal. And then Mancini, solid defensive prospect, I think has actually played up for Vancouver. But, again, he's more or less a guy that, is going to be in the AHL for a little bit, probably for the rest of the season. I think he does have some upside, though, to be a solid, legitimate, full-time NHLer. I just don't know exactly what that role is, if that makes any sense. And then that first-round pick they used to trade into another deal, which we'll just hop right into here, where literally 3 hours later, the Canucks acquired defenseman Marcus Pettersson, who was on the last year of a 1-year, $4 million deal. Again, we'll get into that in a second. They also got Drew O'Connor in exchange for Danton Heinen, Vinny Desharnais, Melvin Fernstrom, and that first-round pick they got from the Rangers. Let me start off with Vancouver before I get into Pittsburgh's perspective. Again, I like what the Canucks are doing here. They are using that first and flipping it for a right-now asset, and probably, I would say, the best defenseman in the market. in Marcus Pettersson, unless if there's somebody that, maybe pops up in the future. But I think as of right now, like when I look at him, he might be the best defender at this trade deadline at the very least. So yeah, Vancouver does good there. They got a depth guy there too in Drew O'Connor who can fit in well in your third line. They also just signed Marcus Pettersson a couple of days ago to a 6-year $5.5 million extension. And I don't mind it. Honestly, I think it's actually really good value for a defensive defenseman. Again, it's not that high of a payment, and I think if Pettersson can keep up the defensive numbers that he had with the Penguins on, I would say, a much better Canucks team, I give major props to Alvin for that. I think it actually is looking like a good move. And then you look at Pittsburgh's, then again, like I said in the video, like I think they might be the biggest winners, to be honest with you. Again, like they get a first round pick, which is really all that I care about. I'm going to be honest. Like you get that first, you're probably going to be picking in the top 10 with your own pick anyways. And you might be getting a, 14th overall pick or a 15th overall pick. Or what I've been saying as well, and people I don't think have realized, the following year, there's a chance that pick might be a pretty high pick in 2026. We don't really know where the Rangers are going to be next year. So, again, I think with them trading their first, they're probably going to try and contend. But again, like we'll have to really see, though. Like a lot can change in 365 days. We could be looking at it from a way different perspective next season. So we'll have to, again, see there with that. But I like the deal for both teams, honestly. Like I like the deal for all three teams that are involved in this little two-part trade that they did. I like it all in all, and I think that it's overall a really good move for all three teams. There was also another trade before we get into the actual news. Again, I know I'm going a little bit more in depth with this than I should be, but the Dallas Stars acquired forward Mikael Granlund and the defenseman Cody Ceci from the San Jose Sharks in exchange for a 2025 first and a conditional 4th-round pick. Again, there was some criticism of this. Oh, you're trading away a first for Cody Ceci and Granlund. Granlund has been really good with San Jose this season. I think, though, you're going to have to give him top 6 minutes for him to be the effective player that we saw him in San Jose. Again, he just doesn't work out in a bottom 6 role. Like, I think that's very obvious with what you saw in Pittsburgh. And again, I think that he's worked out well so far in Dallas, and I think it looks like a good move. And then Ceci, when all of their healthy guys come back, when Heiskanen's back in the lineup, I don't think they're done making moves either. I think Ceci might just become a 6th pairing guy, or a 6th defenseman, or a 7th defenseman at best, to be honest with you. But again, it's not a bad move. Again, like I said, like the defensive market's very weak. If Marcus Pettersson's your best defenseman, then I'm not throwing any shade at Pettersson. If he's the best defenseman in this overall class this year, then yeah, I think that you should go out and try and get somebody like CC ASAP because you may not know who's going to be out there by the time you try again. So I give props there to Jim Nill and the Stars, but I also give props to Mike Grier and the Sharks. Like getting a 1st-round pick, it's going to be a later 1st-round pick probably, but I like it overall there as well for the Sharks. Again, another trade that I think both teams made up pretty good in. Like generally, I think both of these trades worked out, like honestly, for all of these teams. Now let's actually get into the news that wasn't talked about and news that actually is somewhat recent. Yesterday, Vinny Hinostroza was placed on waivers by the Nashville Predators and was claimed by the Minnesota Wild. Hinostroza, one of the leading scorers in the American Hockey League right now, has had an incredible year down there. He's going to get some time with the Wild because Ryan Hartman has been suspended for 10 games due to a roughing call on Tim Stützle. Again, I posted a video on that as well in the card. If I forget, make fun of me in the comment section. I know I keep forgetting. But I think that it's surprising. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not saying that it isn't the right call. I'm just surprised player safety actually gave him that much. And I said that in my video. I said that in my TikTok, and I'm still a little bit shocked to this day, to be honest with you. But overall, I do really like it. From the player safety, like you're holding a guy accountable, you're throwing the book at him. I think it honestly is the right move, to be honest. And Hartman's not going to play for a month. Like he's not going to play till March 9th. So we're not going to see him for over a month essentially. And there's a 4 Nations break in there. I know, I get it. But still, like it is a pretty long amount of time. Like he's not going to play until after the trade deadline. Like that's kind of wild to think about. to be honest with you. So, yeah, we'll have to see where that goes. He actually did file an appeal, so we'll have to see where that goes, too. I mean, like, again, I can't really remember the last time there was an appeal that went through. I feel like it's just a move you try to do to get salary back. But, honestly, I really don't know if that's going to go through. I don't think it will. In the 35 years that Gary Bettman has been the commissioner, I think there's maybe only been one or two times where he's actually disagreed with NHL player safety and filed an appeal as well. So again, like, I don't think it would happen. But yeah, Hartman's out for 10 games, so he's going to be out for at least a month. We'll see where that develops from there. And then we also heard, as of yesterday, the IIHF upheld the admission of Russia and Belarus into the 2025-2026 season. I don't know if that includes the Olympics. I don't think so. So maybe we'll see a final decision there later on. But yeah, again, just I get why. Maybe I don't agree with it from some perspective. I'm not really going to get into it, but it is a hockey relevant news because, again, that's the World Juniors you're going to miss. That's the World Championship you're going to miss. You're also going to miss possibly the Olympics too. I think you damn well might miss the Olympics. I'm going to be honest with you, unless things really change with what's going on overseas between then and now. But again, we'll have to really see there what comes of it. But as of right now, they are not playing in the Olympics or the World Championship or the World Juniors or anything like that. Some other pieces of news here, not a whole ton to be honest with you. Like, it was actually a pretty light week besides the trades. The final three names for the Utah Hockey Club and their logos were officially announced. I will put them on screen here. There have been a lot of criticism of them saying that they look like Shell logos, and I totally get it. They honestly kind of do look like Shell logos, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I also do get it from the fact that, like, they do look pretty cool with the colors. And I think Yeti, the fact that they cannot get Yeti really screwed this team over. Like, it really did. And you can tell by the logo on Hockey Club, they were trying their hardest to get Yeti, and it just isn't going to work. Just because the trademark, it isn't going to work. Which is unfortunate, but sometimes that's how things goes. Hockey teams are not prioritized over everything else. I feel like you guys will know that by now. But regardless, we'll have to see where those three names go. Again, I don't think we'll really know the final results until maybe during the 4 Nations break. Maybe even after that. Maybe not even until the season's done. Like, I really don't know, to be honest with you guys. So we'll have to see. Some injuries before we get into the rumor mill. And the rumor mill is very small, but we'll move through it quickly. Nils Lindqvist is going to be out for the season after undergoing surgery. That is a blow to the Dallas Stars blue line. And again, it's a big factor in why they also went out and got Cody Ceci. Like, you're already missing, like, two solid defensemen, like Heiskanen's elite your number one guy, and you're missing Lundqvist, who's a good third pairing guy. And I think Ceci, that only justifies it even more for bringing him in. So, sucks there for Lindqvist, but hopefully Dallas can get him a Stanley Cup and he'll be able to get a ring. As well as that, too, Adam Edstrom is going to be out for 2 to 3 months, or 2 to 3 weeks, with a lower body injury. So, unfortunate blow there for the Rangers. He's a guy who is one of their bottom 6 forward players. He's a rookie, young guy. I think he's actually going to be a solid NHLer when he does reach his full potential. I think he is a former first-round pick or early second. Not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. Matt Barzal, this is a massive blow for the New York Islanders, who I made a video on earlier this week. He is going to be out indefinitely with a lower body injury, and we really don't know still, as of right now, how long he's going to be. He could come back next week. He could come back next month. Come back next season. Like, we really don't know the issue with Barzal, but he has missed a lot of time this year. He's only played like 30 games, so he already missed an injury around the beginning of the season where the Islanders really struggled. He comes back, they play really well, but now he's out again. So I don't know, but the Islanders keep winning games, so I'm not really gonna of course it's an issue, but they're still winning. So I mean, I guess you got to take that what you will, but yeah, you could obviously definitely use Barzal right now on that team for sure, 100%. Kirill Marchenko is out indefinitely as well after suffering a broken jaw. This is a huge blow to the Blue Jackets and their playoff race. We're going to get into them in a second here, but it seems like there are a lot of things happening there with the team. They might end up being buyers. We'll get into that in a second too. But yeah, Marchenko out indefinitely after suffering a broken jaw is a massive loss. He's been unreal for the Blue Jackets this season. Has been somebody who really kind of made a huge stock. Like, his stock incredibly skyrocketed with this season he's had. And then with that being said, we'll get into the rumor mill now, because the rumor mill, there's not a lot here. It's a very short, small rumor mill. I could have thrown in a couple other things, but I'm like, is that really worth it? We kind of beat a lot of these things to death over the season, so I just kind of wanted to talk about things that I saw that were new. Let's stay with the Blue Jackets, though. They are likely to be buyers at the deadline. So Don Waddell went on to a Columbus radio station and confirmed that they will likely be buyers at the trade deadline. Per Mark Scheik, again, I didn't listen to like the actual thing. I couldn't find it. But again, like, it looks like the Blue Jackets are saying, no, we're going to try and push for a playoff spot now. The situation has changed. You know, we want to prove to our fans that we are trying to get better. We are trying to keep going. And this is the sign of that. And I don't necessarily disagree with it. Again, if they miss the playoffs like the Flyers did last year, I may be like, I don't know. You probably were better off selling. But again, like, it's all a guessing game. Like, again, they could easily make the playoffs, and I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, they're in a good direction. But overall, if they do end up falling out and missing the playoffs, which is very possible, I hate to say it, like, they have one of the harder schedules coming up. They have a lot of injuries as that is. Again, they're missing Marchenko, one of their best players. It's not great. It's not a great look. Again, we'll have to see, though, where the rest of the season goes. Again, they do have the Four Nations break to really kind of recuperate and maybe get some guys back. But overall, right now, it doesn't look that great. But, hey, if they are buying, I wonder who they're going to buy. Like, the trade market is, like, there's a decent amount of players. But with the Islanders winning and the Blue Jackets saying they're going to buy, I don't really know who else is necessarily available. Like, there are some big names out there, like maybe Pittsburgh tries to make an Erik Karlsson trade, or Noah Dobson, who we'll get into in a second here, really does get traded. But right now, the names don't really seem that too sexy right now. We'll have to see, though. The Islanders are shopping Noah Dobson and are reportedly going to try and re-sign Brock Nelson, per Stefan Rosner. I honestly think that moving Dobson is definitely a good idea. He hasn't had the greatest season this year. He's been injured. I don't even know if it really happens during the season. It might be an off-season thing because he is hurt and he's going to be out for a little bit of time. But again, I could really see the Islanders moving on from him if they really do think they could get another piece that helps them win right now. Again, right now. Like, I think that would only have to be the way that makes it make sense, unless if you trade Nelson too. Like, they're also, again, reportedly trying to sign Nelson to a 3-year extension. So again, like, I think that, yeah, it would be good to move on from Dobson, but if you're gonna, like, unless if you're getting like somebody who is really going to change things dramatically right now for the Islanders, I feel like you got to move on from Nelson too. I might be wrong, but who knows? That was something that I was thinking about as well. And then finally, this might be all for a TikTok. Like, I'm going to put all these 3 rumors into a TikTok today. But the St. Louis Blues are reportedly gauging the market for their captain, Braden Shen. And this is very interesting. I was very shocked to see this. I didn't think they would move on from him, but I guess because I think he does have some term left on his deal, I think he can be a good second or third line forward. And again, as I said, like, a lot of the sexy names were traded at the deadline this year or already. And I don't know, like, who else could really get moved on from. Like, maybe Pettersson, but it says he's off the market right now. Like, I guess, like, Dobson is a guy that's been added to that. But to be honest with you, like, I don't think that there are that many big names, and maybe Shen's a guy who could get a lot of attention. I don't know. But that is your news of the week for Friday, February 7th, 2025. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Again, not a lot of really, like, big news besides the trades, I guess, but those are already kind of old. But let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the video down below. Please do consider subscribing to join the community that we are building here. We are going to keep on posting consistently and keep trying to keep on grinding. But thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next video.